Who do I have with me here?
Yeah. Michael Shea.
Michael Shea?
Yeah.
We met. We know each other a little bit.
6 years, man.
6 years.
Yeah.
What do you do, sir?
I sell companies.
Sell companies.
Yeah.
Brokerage.
I broker businesses. So I'm a real estate broker, but I only do businesses.
Only do business.
Uh-huh.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yep.
What brought you down here?
Long route. So New Jersey, went to Cotland, joined the Army. They sent me to college. That was in Rhode Island. Rhode Island to Alabama. Alabama to Georgia. Georgia to California. California to Korea.
All in the military?
Oh yeah. Then they got out, landed back in New Jersey, ended up in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania to Boston, Boston to Texas, Texas, California. So that was corporate world, bouncing around.
After the military?
After the military, worked for PepsiCo.
Are you serious?
Yep, selling soda pop. Yeah.
Dude, you wouldn't believe it. I'm one of the first few people you'll ever meet that's got a Pepsi tattoo. I've got a Pepsi tattoo, and so does my wife.
I'm trying to think who else I knew had a tattoo.
I
I
kid you
think I
not.
had a rep. I had a sales rep. One of the drivers had a Pepsi tattoo. They had the orb back when we were doing Pepsi points. Remember the points?
Oh yeah, I worked that summer
Yeah.
just to do those points.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah.
That was a bad marketing idea. Yeah,
They
people
were
were
just
talking about the
right,
boxes.
that's right,
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah.
my job was the vending machines that summer. I got to fill the vending machine. Every time I filled up the vending machine, I still got a bunch of them.
That business has changed.
When I was 12 years old, my dad went and bought us Pepsi. You remember it was in the bottle?
Yeah.
And he gave it to me, and it was a Mountain Dew lid.
Yeah.
And he said, Donnie, keep this. So I kept it. I still got it. I started collecting. I've been collecting Pepsi for
Yeah, I
40
collected
years.
bottles. Somewhere in the house I've got the original Pepsi bottles, and then when I went to work for Nestle, which is Zephyr Hills, I started collecting the bottled water bottles. That was when I was owned
Oh,
by,
wow.
when I was owned by
In
Pepsi.
glass?
Well, it was owned, little known fact, Zephyr Hills was actually owned by Nestle.
Okay.
You know, they had, but they ran under Perrier. So, you know, the French bottler, and they owned Poland Spring in New England, they owned Ozarka in Texas, Zephyr Hills here, Deer Park in the Midwest, Calistoga. So they had like 11 brands throughout the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, water's become profitable.
Yeah.
It's needed.
Yeah, I did the big 5-gallon, I had the drivers going around moving the 5-gallon bottles.
Wow, those
Yeah.
days. What'd you do in the military?
I was a chemical weapons officer.
Chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, guy with a history degree, and they had me doing bugs and gas.
You didn't get to pick what you wanted?
No, the way that works is you give them a wish list. So you go. What I did was green to gold. So you enlist a guy, and they sent me off to college, and then you go to camp, and anybody does like the guys over at ROTC over.
Were you trying to go to officer? You
Yeah,
trying to become an
I was
officer?
going to be an officer, and so I worked. I was a reservist on the weekends. And then I did my ROTC training, and then I went to camp, and I scored really, really well. So I'm like, I'm gonna get my pick. And you fill out a wish list. You fill out a dream sheet. And I filled out my dream sheet, and I think it was military police, air defense artillery. I wanted to shoot down missiles. I wanted to run Patriot batteries.
Wow.
Like, thank God I'm not sitting in Iraq running a Patriot battery right now. And then I think armor was on there. All the blow things up, shoot things, everything but infantry. Infantry scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be
19
outside. I don't want to be
kit
outside. I don't want to be
13.
outside. I don't want to be outside armor.
I didn't want to run.
Yeah. And I'll never forget it. I can tell you exactly what the day was. It was January 3rd. They called us into the office. It was the day.
What year?
1991. It was the day.
Dude, I remember
It was the
I
day the
remember.
bombing started in Iraq.
Dude, I was at Fort Knox.
I was at a bar, and the
No
colonel
kidding.
called the bar and said, "Hey, we got your assignments." I went down to see the colonel. Hey, I got good news and bad news. I'm like, what's the good news? 'Cause all I wanted was active duty. 91 was a recession year, so I was worried about the recession. I gave the job.
We couldn't get out.
Yeah,
We couldn't get out.
yeah, they froze everything.
Yeah.
And he goes, good news is you're regular Army active duty. I'm like, yeah, I got a job. He goes, bad news is you're chemical. And I'd done basic training, so I'd been through the gas chamber.
Yeah.
And I'm like, chemical? That wasn't even on the list. And he goes, go see the major. So I walk out, and there's two, Major Zaborowski and Major Peterson are standing in the hallway with our first assignments. And they're laughing. I'm like, okay,
Uh-oh.
what are we laughing about? You're going to California. And I went, okay, what's this chemical thing? Well, okay. And they got the whole poster. It says, oh, it's, bugs and gas, and you're doing chemical defense. I'm like, I got a degree in history. Like, I'll teach you. I'm like, all right. I'm not sure I'm gonna do this, but I'll see if I can get out of it. But they're like, hey, you're going to California.
Did they give you a commission then?
Oh yeah, no, you get commissioned when I graduate. It's like the day before I graduate college, we got commission.
Okay.
Yeah, but they said you're going to California, so I was all excited. I'm thinking Fort Ord, beaches. I didn't realize how wide California was. And he goes, you're going to Fort Irwin, and I'm like, where the hell's Fort Irwin? And so there's a map, right, of the United States. It goes right there in the Mojave Desert. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Oh my God.
And that's the armored, that's like the combat training center. So for 4 years I played Russian. I was in a Russian uniform.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a base out there. They do, nowadays it's dressed up like the Middle East. They got little cities and there's opposing forces permanently stationed. Yeah, they play war games.
I've heard of that, but I never knew anybody.
Yeah, there's one in Germany, Hohenfels, and then when I was there, we played the Russians because the Russians were still the bad guys. So we had an entire brigade of Russian equipment.
No
Yeah, and
kidding.
we wore Russian uniform, drove Russian equipment 3 weeks out of the month. And then 1 week out of the month, we were Americans. And then in would come another unit, and we would rinse and repeat and go to the field for 30 days.
Wow.
So you guys would come in, draw equipment from General Electric or Dynaco or whoever the contractor was running the place, and we'd go play war games.
Wow. My dad said, either get a job or get out, one of the two.
Yeah.
And I walked up to the Army recruiter,
Mhm.
and I said, what can I do? And I took the ASVAB, and he said, if you get a 50 or higher, you can enlist for 2 years. 'Cause I said, I want to, they had a 2, 3, and 4 year enlistment. I said, I only want to go 2 years. If I want to re-enlist, I can up-enlist. If I want to get the hell out, I get. I did the ASVAB, I got a 51.
Yeah.
51. And he gave me 3 choices. He said, you can do infantry.
Yeah.
You can be an air traffic controller, because Reagan had just fired all of the
Yep.
air traffic.
Should have done that. That's a good job, brother.
I don't know. What's going on now? I mean, they make money, but the stress level, that's what they scared me out
The
of it.
stress levels in the cities are hard.
Yeah, they scared me with the stress.
Yeah, I got a buddy who's an air traffic controller. He would always work like West Texas, so he could sleep. He'd go to work with a pillow.
Oh, wow.
So back in the 90s, when
Yeah,
I lived
see.
in Houston, he'd go to, I see him leaving to go to Houston. I'm like, what sector are you covering? I'm covering Bush's Ranch. The only time you'd have to wake up was when somebody broke the airspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too stress. And then he said, you got to do 19 X-ray. You can be a driving a tank. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Drive a tank? You bound to work? I was like,
You got to work at a tank.
Yeah.
You got to pull track and.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. I didn't know at the time. And
Yeah.
they stationed me up from Cincinnati originally.
Yeah.
They sent me to Fort Knox, Kentucky, an hour and a half away for my
That's
2
awesome.
years.
That's
I went home
perfect.
every weekend.
That's perfect.
Dude, I'm one of the luckiest dudes you know.
Yeah.
And when the Gulf War, the Desert Shield broke out, and everybody wanted to go, I was like, yeah, I want to go. And he says, I'll send you. You enlist for 4 more years. I was like, ugh. I was like, ugh, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
And then it was over. And one of the guys in
It
the
was over
unit,
in 48 hours.
yeah, one of the guys in the unit did do it. He signed up for 4 more years. They sent him, and he was back before I left.
Yeah, so all the stuff they learned out there, or the way they executed, was trained out in Fort Irwin.
Wow.
So, because that's the Mojave, that base is the size of Rhode Island, and you can literally line up battalions and brigades online. I mean, it's the only place. There's nothing more awesome in the morning than watching a battalion of tanks coming over a mountain range. At 40 miles an hour, it'll shake
Yeah.
you to the core,
Oh, yeah.
and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I laid in that thing, and
Yeah.
I was just on a AOB. It was an Army officer basic. So
Yep.
the Army officers come in, and all I was pull up. They would shoot and
Yeah.
shoot and shoot, and I'd back up.
Yeah, so when I got commissioned, I'd go to Fort McClellan, which is in
Okay.
Alabama, and then, we're doing the same thing, that you guys would pull the equipment up and we'd go,
Then
okay.
go
all
home
right,
and wash it
Lieutenant,
afterwards.
Learn how to drive it, because we don't get to, you don't get to do the stuff. You gotta learn how to operate it, and then when you go to the field, you got your drivers, your loaders, your tankers.
Yeah.
So I had 113s. You know what 113s are? The
Mhm.
armored personnel carriers. I had a
Like
whole
a
set of them.
Bradley.
It's the old if you look at in 1960s, there's these boxy looking things that we
Okay.
carry, and it's a universal.
To carry
The
country.
Israelis use them now. We gave them all the Israelis. It's just an armored personnel carrier, and I had smoke generators, so I was a smoke platoon leader. So I'd ride along the tankers. This is the dumbest job ever. Shortest lifespan in an armored brigade is a smoke platoon leader, because the tanks are running along, and you're supposed to be on their side shooting smoke out your butt to cover them, so nobody could shoot at them. But there's nothing covering you. Like, you're just a big
Wide open.
wave of the flag. And So we would die pretty quick in the battles, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I was on the M1A1 Abrams.
Yep.
And we had those smoke things
Yep,
on the
same
things.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, we had, our whole job was to lay the smoke screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then flame operations, doing food gas and chemical recon.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing it. So how did you end up in Florida from after that?
So when I was with Nestle, got transferred here, and short story was like, hey, do you want to move? When you're doing that corporate thing, it's move, move, move. That's why I bounced around a lot. And you start having a family, that tears you apart. We were talking earlier
yeah.
about, you know,
Responsibility.
You have to decide if you want if you want to be present in your kids' lives or not, your wife's lives. And we just made a decision that was not, you know, bouncing around was not an option. That, and I don't blend well. I mean, you've known me for 6 years. I'm kind of direct. I'm not good at politics. So, if you were it was always funny when I worked at Pepsi and I worked at Nestle. I would work primarily. I'd get hired by people who were former military. So they're like, great, go gallop towards the smoke. Go take care of the problem. Let me run. You get someone who's not from that world. It's like
It's so frustrating.
It's oil and vinegar.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, I was still immature, learning to how do I get them to do it my way? I'm like, they are what they are. It's okay. It's like a bad marriage. If it doesn't work, it ain't never gonna work.
Why should we both suffer?
Yeah, why should we both suffer? So it's like, you know what? And my realtor, her husband was doing this for a living. And she said to me, God rest her soul, she passed away a couple of years ago, why don't you go try that? So I went here to interview with the guy who was running it, who was my business partner up until a month ago. And he's like, yeah, you can do this. Because the thought I had was, I'll be a broker until I find a business to buy. This was 2005. And this place was popping. I mean, it was cheap to live, you know, I could throw bubble gum against the wall and sell a company.
Yeah, I moved here in 2003, and I think I was the last one under
This place
100,000.
was a ghost town.
Oh yeah,
Lake,
yeah. The
like those-
hotel, you could see right through it.
Yeah, nothing was developed here. I remember coming out here one time prospecting. I'm like, what a dump, right? Because I lived in, you know where Lake Nona is in Orlando. So out by the medical center, and it's all been developed. When I moved there in 2005, it was just cow pastures. And now it's like the hottest part of Lake
It's
Nona.
whole Central Florida, just
Yeah.
Central Florida.
So I ended up joining the firm, did real well. First couple of years was like, man, I'm making a crap ton of money. And then 08 hits. Yeah.
That did everybody.
Yeah, well,
Did you go to law school?
No,
Or just brokerage? Okay.
No, I'm just, no, to do business brokerage, you have to have a real estate license.
Oh, real estate. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a licensed real estate broker. I could sell a house if you wanted me to. Never done it, don't desire it. It's a different business. You don't sell things confidentially. You do things, you know, you heavy market out. When I meet a business owner, it's always after hours, you know, in my office. You know, I have to be careful when people come up to my office in this town, because everybody knows I'm in that upstairs office above Mitchell's. And if you're a business owner and you're like, a couple years ago, I sold Reescliff.
Oh, you did? I remember.
Right.
I remember.
I did Reescliff, and he walked in my office, and he was walking out, and I think the supply guy from one of the food suppliers saw him and said, "You're upstairs seeing Shea." And he's like, "No, I'm not."
I know
He's
both. I know what you're talking about.
He goes, "There's no reason for you to be up there. There's a massage therapist, an insurance brokerage, and I think a couple psychotherapists. And unless you're crazy, and you're not crazy, you're seeing Mike." And he's like, "Shut up, I don't want to talk about it." So I learned pretty quick. I had to kind of, okay, we're gonna have to start meeting at, like, you know, in Mulberry or something where nobody knows who the hell I am.
Yeah, because I could peg who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think didn't he like go to another country? Didn't he move out after he sold?
I haven't talked to him in a while. He still owns the building.
Yeah, he rents to the new ones.
Yeah.
And what's her name?
Same thing when we did Joyce. When I did Joyce Automotive, we had to be real careful about, you know, because two guys who have been in this city forever, right? And this is such a small town, you got to be careful. I think one of the reasons they picked me early on, as opposed to the other two people who do it in town, was nobody knows who I am. Now they do, but back then they didn't. So it's like, hey, you know, if I'm seen with this 6'5" guy, it's not that, you know.
Yeah, discreet.
Yeah.
So when did you start? Basically?
Started in 2005. I became a partner in 2008 when the recession hit. We're a Florida firm, We started in '79.
What's the name of the company?
Transworld Business Advisors. Back
Transworld.
then it was Transworld Business Brokers.
Okay.
Started in Fort Lauderdale. The owner, Don Parrish, died 6 months ago,
Oh, wow.
at 90.
90, wow.
Yeah, he was still on the board, we'd have our board meetings, we'd still talk. He slipped, fell, and, that was kind of it. He was living up in Alabama. We had 8 offices in Florida when '08 hit, and we had to do an adjustment. So, great, we learned a couple things. We learned when stuff like that happens, you cut to the bone and you cut fast.
If you want to succeed.
If you want to survive.
Survive.
So you get out of that lease, you get out of that lease. You cut. You don't want to lay off people drips and drabs and be merciful. Employees get mad, but it's like
Rip that Band-Aid off.
you got to rip it and cut to the bone right away. You can always rehire, but the slow bleed, you're going to die just an ugly death. You're going to suffocate. So we learned that. We adjusted our overhead. We learned when we were rocking and rolling, you could throw a bubble gum against the wall. Some of us had pivoted to just doing big M&A deals. I was new to the business.
M&A?
Mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, wow.
True private equity stuff.
Okay.
Because there's big money there, and I didn't know the dollar from the dollar now. So I just kept doing singles and doubles and, the local pizza parlor and crap like that, the lawn service, or the pool company, or.
Yeah.
And when the spigot turned off in '08, all the guys who were doing big stuff collapsed. But I took care of the little guy. And the little guys still sold. The little guys were still buying and selling. So they're like, well, you were nice to me. These other guys ignored
That's
me.
right.
They turned their nose down at you. So I learned, never forgot that. And stayed in that business. And then we did something, once we got through the recession, we did something, we struggled with growing. We could never grow past Florida. We're like, how do we grow into Georgia? Because as real estate brokers, as business brokers requires real estate licenses in certain states. Like Georgia requires a real estate license. I have reciprocity in Georgia as a licensee. Take a test for like 10 questions, okay, you're good to go. But then the problem becomes, how do I run from Georgia at the same time I'm running Florida? Because this is a relationship. I can't see you at 5 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah. Physically.
After your business is shut down, and then go do something in Macon, Georgia. So we were always, every time we try and extend, we'd have to deploy somebody, then we'd lose revenue. So we're like, how do we grow? How do we grow? So my partners and I had become a partner at that point, we met a Florida Southern grad, a guy by the name of Ray Titus, played basketball at Florida Southern, I think in the 80s. He doesn't live here anymore, but he lives in West Palm, and he owns a company called United Franchise Group. So they own, Signorama, biggest sign company in the world.
Okay.
Signorama, let's see, Grace over on the south side, there's one.
Yeah.
Embroid Me, or the Embroid Me franchise.
Yeah.
They own that. We met Ray, and we did a joint venture with Ray, where we formed a new company. We're gonna put 50 grand in, he puts 50 grand in, and he took us to 300 locations around the world.
Wow.
We have offices now in Australia, Japan.
Even today?
Right now.
Wow.
Dublin, England, Dubai, Paris, Canada, every state in the United States except Vermont. So if you want to know anybody who wants to buy one in Vermont, that territory is still open. The partners that formed it, we own Florida, and about a month ago, we sold it.
You did?
We did.
And then they rehired you? Or you went
So
on your own?
we sold our shares to Ray. Ray now owns the
Wow.
whole system.
Boy, he's a...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, he owns the whole company. And that's kind of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to build it, generate wealth, and then, when you kind of go, because now my partner, I'm 56, CEO 60, some of the partners are in their 70s. These are older guys. You have to go, when's the time?
Yeah.
And then when do you want to, I always tell people it's like going to Las Vegas. You got to know when to get up from the poker table.
Some kind of discipline. Yeah.
And people don't know when to get up from the poker table.
I never get started. I can't do it. I'm too scared. I got a brother that does, but I don't.
Yeah, you just got, it was a good run. They made a lot of money. We helped a lot of people. I put my kids through college. Do I need to work that hard in my 50s? Probably not. Let's take my chips off the table. And so, as we talk to business owners, that's the goal, right? But you
That's
gotta
right.
you gotta manage that goal so that Uncle Sam takes his bite. He takes his bite.
Oh yeah, big bite
A
too.
big bite, and you got to prepare and do that.
Are we moving into another 08 right now?
You will have a correction. There will be a correction in the next 24 to 48 months.
I knew there was something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if
It's not AI.
because
If you look, if we gave money away in COVID, we now have what I call a printing press moment. Like in the 1540s when Gutenberg or whatever the hell his name was came up with the printing press.
mhm.
That's a sea change.
The value can be over here, but we can exchange the paper over
that
here.
changes everything. The Industrial Revolution, that changes everything. So AI is going to change productivity, but people shouldn't be afraid of it. When I tell people, like, if you've watched, who's Iron Man? What's that guy's freaking name? From the Marvel movies?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got Jarvis. Jarvis should make you, like, faster. Your AI should make you quicker and quicker. As I was walking in here, I was texting my office manager. I said, I need you to look at Copilot and figure out how to make it automatically respond to all my customers from these 6 websites who are making inquiries on businesses.
Have you started? Have you got an agent? Have you been developing an agent?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I use it sometimes when I was with a pizza parlor guy Monday over in Clearwater, and he was complaining. I was telling him his margins weren't any good. I said, your margins suck. He's like, what do you know? I said, well, I look at 500 businesses a year, and I've done more pizza parlors than I care to shake a stick at. But let's show you. So I went to Claude, and I said, here's Giovanni's Pizza at such and such an address, and I want you to pull every pizza parlor within 10 miles. I want you to look at their Yelp, Google, and their online profile. And Zag it. I want you to pull the reviews, and I want you to do a price comparison and cross-reference all the menus and see where they stand. Are they overpriced, underpriced? And then he had given me all of his invoices. So I took his invoices from his most recent order.
And then
I loaded it into the system, and it spat out a report. But you can literally punch in, hey, your 16-inch pie is priced lower than, freaking West Shore Pizzas or somebody else, or Jay Burns, etc. And here's their pricing offer, so you got 10 cents to do it.
And he never did do anything like that?
He's an operator.
Yeah.
He's busy. When you get into your business, you get busy operating. And if there's a business owner who's
You're focused.
You're consumed. You got people, you got customers, you got phone calls, you got things that go wrong. To take the time to use the tool. So if you want to start a business today, somebody in this building needs to be doing tools for business owners on everything under the sun. Helping, you could go in there and step in 5 minutes. And so I created a menu comparison tool for him. I just gave it to him. I can't charge him.
Yeah.
It's too damn easy.
Yeah, but he'll come to you and he'll remember you.
He'll remember.
Yeah.
And I did a guy here in town. Here's a classic. We had lunch one day about a year ago, and he was, I don't know, how old are you?
57.
So yeah, he's about 10 years younger than us, and he has a nice business, been around for 15 years, well represented. He's got a nice life, but he's in his 40s. He's got 2 kids, and he's like, "How do I get ahead?" And I'm just eating. And I said, Bob, you play way too much damn golf. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You got a nice car, you got a beautiful house, you play way much golf. How much money you got saved?" He told me. I go, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And the point was, he wasn't working hard enough when he should have been working hard enough. I said, "I'm going to give you a gift." So he has one of these businesses. So you know how a lawn service, they bill you monthly?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem with lawn services is you usually pay people weekly. So you have to have cash on hand to pay. So it tightens up your ability to deal with.
Yeah, you gotta have it on
fuel
hand.
goes up 40%, how you got to cover it? It ties up your cash flow. So I said, "You're paying people weekly. Do you cut weekly?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Are there 4 weeks in every month?" And he kind of stopped. He said, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Are there 4 weeks in every month?" He goes, "Yes." I go, "No. There's a couple months that have 5 weeks, right?"
Mm-hmm. May.
Right, yeah. I said, "You should bill 13 times a year." and you would have thought I killed a baby. What are you talking about? I go, you cut every week. You're giving that person in this lawn service basically 4 weeks for free. I said, you should bill every 4 weeks. What does that mean? I said, that means you're gonna make another $50,000 a year. So we did it. So I saw.
You mean bill every 2 weeks?
You should bill every 4 weeks, you invoice the customer.
And he wasn't doing that?
No, he's billing every month.
What's the difference? 4 weeks in a month?
No, there isn't. Not in every month. There's a couple months that have 5.
Okay, so just those
There's a
two
couple-
or 3 weeks?
There's a couple months where there's more than 28 days, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
31, there's 30, right?
Well, they all got
There's
28.
365 divided by 4 is 4 is how many?
I guess you're gonna tell me it's 13.
It is 13. So you see that how, look, trust me. Now where did I learn that? I learned that at Pepsi.
You did?
Yes, when we used to remember the days when we rented vending machines?
Yeah.
Yeah. We rented vending machines. We did it on a billing cycle. We did not do it.
So
on
that's a little trick that you know that most people don't know.
No, they don't. I do that every time.
And you do that for free as a cookie to get on.
That's a little cookie.
There you go.
If you know that, I know some shit that.
There you go. That's just a taste.
And he saw me at a game and our kids played together and he goes, hey, I gotta see you at the car. So I went out to the car and he gave me a bottle of whiskey. I said, I gave you 50 grand, you gave me a bottle of whiskey. You damn well better bring me a bottle of whiskey for the rest of my goddamn life.
I'd cut my grass for the next 6 months.
I'd cut my grass, yeah. But you gotta do that. You gotta have the courage to do it. And then it's like, okay, how do you do that? Do you just kind of eat what you did in the past, or you go forward and make the changes?
Yeah, and you
there's
might
lots of
lose
things.
1 or 2 customers, but you'll gain. Yeah.
He did. He lost 1 customer.
Yeah.
He lost 1 customer.
That's awesome.
And he replaced the next one with, the next week, it's summertime. He already picked up another 10, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right. And there's lots of little things like that.
Yeah.
Lots of little things like that.
So if you're in the business of wanting to sell a business, buy a business,
Any business.
There you go.
I've seen so many, the things you see, or you learn. So imagine a world where a guy gets to look at everybody's business and their underwear every day, see what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong.
I heard a story.
Mhm.
You know the Discount Auto Brothers?
Uh-huh.
They, I heard a rumor.
I was in that business too.
You were?
Yep.
Well, I heard that how that started was their dad, the old man, I forgot his name. The old man was an accountant,
Mhm.
and he seen the numbers that were being run through the auto parts,
That happens.
and he stopped and said, "We're going into auto parts." And
The
that's how
guy, the guy who bought Joyce was an accountant.
yeah, those accountants, man, they see it all. Bankers.
Bankers see it all too. Now you got to be able to deal with the people, right? You got to be able to, it's one thing to understand what it's like on the spreadsheet. It's another thing to be able to go out and deal with the people, both the employees and the customers.
You develop that over.
And know how hard to push, right? Like you can't do that billing trick with commercial customers. You can do it with residential customers.
Yeah.
But you can't do it with, and it's not a trick. It's just
Yeah,
the nature of the way you should be doing it.
yeah.
You should start out there.
Individuals and corps are 2 different
Two
monsters.
different animals,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Well, what a pleasure. You got anything planned in the future? Are you sticking around? How old are your kids?
So I've got one in law school. She just finished her 2nd year.
Oh, wow.
She's gonna stay in North Carolina, I think. I've got another one up in law school, or not in law school, at the same college, High Point University up in High Point, North Carolina. She's home for the summer. She's got an internship over on Lake Mirror with a architecture firm.
Oh, wow.
She worked for Nickerson. She did an internship. She's an interior design major.
Fontaine.
Yeah, she's working with them, and then she's this summer. But last year she did with Nickerson Interiors. They're over there in Dixieland. And then I've got a 15-year-old over at All Saints. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then my wife, as you know, works at the hospital.
That's fantastic.
So we're not going anywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
But you no longer work for Transworld? You
No,
work for yourself?
So what happened was, we literally, I had a broker call me today. He goes, "You guys did that?" And I said, "Yeah." My competitor. He goes, "So what are you doing now?" I said, "Do the same damn thing. We're back to what we were 20 years ago. It's just we pay Ray.
We got some more resources.
We pay Ray, Mr. Florida Southern Moccasin, a little money, and I'm still under the same brand, still got the same name. It's just now I'm a franchisee as opposed to one of the owners.
Now that's neat. That's really cool, dude.
You gotta check your ego when you do it, though. It's like
Yeah.
You're no longer in charge. I told you I was talking to the IT guy, and I asked on Sunday. I texted him and said, "Hey, I wanna load one of my other AIs," and he goes, "You have to ask permission." I'm like, holy crap, I gotta ask permission. I can't just do what I want anymore.
You gotta give up, you gotta.
And it hurt a little bit. It hurt a little bit. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got some rules to follow now.
Yeah, I gotta follow rules,
That's
right?
right.
I'm not in charge. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was at USF, my senior year, I interned twice at GTE.
Mhm.
It's now Verizon.
Mhm.
And I got to go in the corporate world. I got to see what it was like, and I wanted it. Nobody would hire me, man. Nobody. I wanted to get into that corporate world so bad. Nobody would hire me.
Hey, brother, when I got off the active duty, my first job was at Airborne Express in New Jersey, working the third shift, sorting packages.
I worked at UPS, yeah.
And then when I got to Pepsi, I worked third shift, running the warehouse, which you're a warehouse supervisor. So it was a glorious word for making sure the trucks are loaded.
Yeah, I was 4 to 8 in the morning.
But let me tell you something. It wasn't but 2 years ago, I was in a warehouse, a distribution center for toys over in Orlando, and we needed to go look at something, and nobody could operate the forklift. I'm like, I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm like this, and I'm like, just give me the damn keys. It was a double fork. I'm boom, boom. I mean, it took me a little. I played with the lift a little bit, get the
calibrate.
In, lifted,
Yeah.
slight tilt, put it in reverse, boop, 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 swung it, elevated it, slid it into the racks, dropped the forks, pulled it back out, and it was like,
Reminiscing.
wow. I'm like, I could get that tractor trailer backed up to the door too. I mean, I almost went out there just to prove it I could do it, but it'd been probably too long. I'd have screwed the brakes lines.
You know, the funny thing is, I got out of the Army, I'd driven the M1 tank.
Mhm.
They gave me a Class A, and I couldn't even drive a truck. They gave me a Class A. I didn't know what to do. 6 up, 3 down. I don't know.
Everybody should do 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
It
got me organized.
We were talking about learning. You learn how to suffer, right?
Yeah.
And grind. Like when things get hard, it's like, no, I've been through harder.
The biggest thing that bothered me was, no offense, but a guy who was dumber than me, I had to listen to. I didn't have a choice.
That's in the corporate
Because he signed up before me.
Well,
The only difference, you're gonna get me killed if we go to law. If we go to war, he'd get me killed. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Well, you know,
That's what bothered me.
I've worked at corporations where I worked for idiots, but there is karma. I'll tell
Yeah,
you one
I
story.
agree.
So one of my stints in between Pepsi and Nestle, I worked for the guy I worked with at Pepsi, now Ford, but he was an ex-Army guy. He went over to be CEO and he hired me to go run the Northeast. And God rest his soul, he's passed away since, but he was screwing something up, and it was just his ego got a little big for his britches, and he fired me, right? Because I got into it with him. I said, I flew to Houston one day, had a meeting with him. I said, you forgotten what the rules were. You know, you can't talk to me. No, he shit canned me, and then 15 years later, guess who he's working for in Orlando? Came to work for me.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I forgave him, and I said, you know what? I could have handled it differently. So sometimes you do got to work.
Yeah,
for
everybody.
people. And sometimes you got to work for customers that aren't always right. And, you know, as a broker, you work for people who aren't always right. You know, in real estate, it's kind of transactional. The value, the market's defined. But in businesses, I see people make decisions that are wildly bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to pay income tax, so I'm gonna hide that cash. Well, that screws up the tax return, so I can't get it financed. Now you're wondering why your business isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Business and Army are two different monsters. This guy was gonna get me killed. And you don't get to come back from that.
You can hurt a lot of families running your business incorrectly.
Yeah, good point, good point.
You know, if you're an employer and you've got a lot of employees and you're not disciplined, you know, we were talking about what happened in the Great Recession. We went from a high-rise building, we moved off the OBT in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, whoa. I had a homeless guy on my front doorstep, and I'm like, you can see that, but the reality is I don't have the cost structure that the guy in the pretty office does. If he's got the pretty office, you're paying for that. You're paying for that.
Yeah.
Right? Is it just because you're a lawyer with a suit?
Yep.
Doesn't mean you're a good lawyer. I used to ask my dad. So when I would ask my father, you know, doctors. When you ask a doctor who he picks to treat them, they know, and they don't judge by degrees. They don't care. They don't care where you went to college. Like my old man went to UCG in Galway, University College of Galway for medical school. You can go to Harvard, but you know what? When any of the doctors in the hospital want to go out on the table, or their kids are on the table, they're calling the Irish guy. They're not calling the guy who went to Harvard. Because how you operate it's like
Sure.
in the military, you know, the lieutenant may have the control, but you damn well better listen to the seasoned sergeant who's been in the bush before.
That's right. First sergeant.
Yep.
First sergeant knows what's going on.
And that's why it's designed that way.
It is, yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
Until the
Eventually
politics.
they learn.
Do they? Because I never found that.
Well, you were only in 2 years.
Yeah.
Eventually they learn.
Yeah, that's it.
It's funny. I was on Facebook the other day, and my platoon sergeant found me.
No kidding.
Yeah, he called me sir. I'm like, Jeff, stop calling me sir. He goes, I was wondering what happened to you.
Wow.
I said, and there's a picture of him. He sent me a picture with two of us sitting against a Humvee in the desert, and he's pointing in a direction. I go, yeah, that's you telling me I did something stupid. He's like, I never told you you did something stupid. I go, I distinctly remember me doing stupid things. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, a couple times, but you learned.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that's their job.
Yeah. I tell you a quick story. I was here when I first came down here to Lakeland.
Mm-hmm.
They over at the stadium in St. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
They had this talk where you could listen to Paul Harvey. A lot of people just cheer you up. I was like, I'm going to go to that. I got in my car, left about 7 o'clock in the morning, got halfway. My wife calls me and says, I can't find my keys. I was like, what? She says, I looked in my pocket. I had both her set of keys. I had to turn around. I went all the way back, gave her keys, gave her a kiss, went back all the way over to St. Pete, went to the bathroom, went up to the urinal to do my business, and there's a military guy.
Yeah.
I said, Sergeant Jenkins?
Yep.
Yep. My recruiter from Hamilton, Ohio was taking a leak next to me.
Yep.
I couldn't believe it.
Hey, let me tell you something. So remember the last State of the Union, the pilot that got the Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
Remember the general who was hanging that on him?
Mm-mm.
So there was a general, General Braga, who commands Special Forces Command. He was a platoon leader with me.
No kidding.
Yep.
Moved up the.
Oh yeah. Well, we all knew he would. But you know, I was sitting there going, I'm gonna text him. And I'm like, I could text him on Facebook because he's on there. I'm like, hey man, you look a little thick around the middle. And he hasn't yet to answer me.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a small world.
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife, she says when I met her, she worked for a dog clinic in Tampa, right on Dale Mabry, and she said General Schwarzkopf came in. His
Yep.
dog had died, and she seen tears in Schwarzkopf's eyes
Oh, yeah.
after his dog
They're
died.
just people.
Yeah, that's right.
They're just
I was like,
people.
oh,
Yep.
Schwarzkopf.
Yep.
I can't believe Toledo.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, how can people get in contact with you?
Any way you want. If they Googled me, they'd find me. Local number is 321-287-0349, Mike at tworld.com. If you typed in Lakeland Business Broker, I pop up first. I think if you ask Gemini or one of the AIs, I pop up first. So I make a point of being, that's why I'm here, make a point of being present.
And it's Michael Shea, S-H-E-A.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
The Irish name, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Coas, for letting me use this beautiful room. And I'm a Burns. I'm right next door. We're in Scotland.
All right.
Have a fantastic day, man. God bless.
Yep.
Thank you.